Good day, Singapore. This is former Manchester United player Peter Schmeichel, and you're listening to the guys on 938 Live Sports.
From 938 Live.
This is Formula One driver Fernando Alonso.
Hi Singapore, I'm Jürgen Klinsmann.
Hi, I'm Martin Tyler.
This is Annika Sorensen.
Hi Singapore, this is Johnny Wilson. You're locked on to the best in sports. Cheers.
You're listening to Singapore's longest running and only sports talk show on radio, 15 years and still going strong. A good Saturday to you and welcome to SportsZone on 938 Live. I'm Raj Kumar and today we turn the focus on the sport of boxing in Singapore. We are 11 months to go before the Lion City plays host to the next Southeast Asian Games, and with some of our key sports like swimming, table tennis, shooting and badminton all involved at the Commonwealth Games, I felt it was the right time to feature one of the sporting disciplines which will surely bring Singaporeans to the stadiums to watch when boxing gets underway at the SEA Games next June. But just before we touch on boxing, and on behalf of 938 Live, I'd like to congratulate our athletes at the Games in Scotland so far, and after 9 days of competition, Team Singapore's medal tally stands at 6 gold, 2 silver and 4 bronze medals. 6 gold, 2 silver and 4 bronzes. Our shooters and paddlers are responsible for the Golden Haul so far, while the other medals have come from swimming, badminton and gymnastics. Still 2 more days of competition remain, and we have our shuttlers and paddlers competing for several medals. Let's see if they can try and equal or even surpass the medal haul of 11, the gold medal haul of 11 from our last outing at the Games in 2010. So go Team Singapore. And one other little detail, during last week's edition of SportsZone, which was our gaming edition, we had 4 winners, including a person by the name of Kinson Gunn. Kinson, your number seems to have been disconnected in the last couple of days. We've tried to contact you. So Kinson Gunn, please contact us via our official Facebook page and drop us a message if you want your prizes. Alright then, back to the show at hand, and to tell us more about the current boxing scene here, as well as youth development, training facilities, financial resources, the national squad and so much more, is none other than the president of Singapore's Amateur Boxing Association and former Olympian Syed Kadir. He's joined by the association's vice president and one of the coaches, as in T. Balasundram, and they brought along 3 national boxers in Muhammad Hanuruddin Hamid, Leona Hui and Ridwan Ahmad. A very good Saturday, and glad to see the familiar faces, especially the guys, as I covered boxing at the Southeast Asian Games in Palembang in 2011, and the 4 of you were there. So, Mr. Syed, let's start with you by briefly telling us about the overall current state of boxing in Singapore.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting us.
No worries.
I'm very pleased and happy with the progress in boxing in Singapore now. It has grown steadily since 6-7 years ago until now, and we have grown youngsters to coming out of from the 2010 Youth Olympic Games, and we have sort of it's a legacy of boxing in Singapore, and more youth are coming out to take up the sports.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but is it but would you say is the sport now, is it still confined to a very small group, or have other sports maybe taken away the glamour away from boxing?
No, boxing has got its own fan and followers, and I would say that boxing is one of the oldest sports in Singapore, and worldwide it's been more popular now with the Olympic Games on all the 4 major games, which includes boxing, and even women are included in the Olympic Games and now currently in the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow.
Okay. What about the association itself, the Singapore Amateur Boxing Association? What's been keeping you busy for the opening 6 months of the year?
Well, for the last 6 months, we have got a couple of competition local, and we have sent boxers to overseas for exposures. In April, we sent boxers to Sri Lanka for the first Lions Cup in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
And the next one will be next week. We will be sending 4 boxers men and 2 women to the 4th Taipei City Cup boxing tournament.
Okay. Vice President Bala, who's also a coach at the club level and national level. How is the association preparing itself for the SEA Games? Will you guys be the organizing body for boxing next June, or will it be via an independent organization?
Well, we have already started this interest towards the direction of this coming SEA Game 2015 with our great support our president, Mr. Said Kadir, has organized with our own committee, our association committees, and we are working towards the direction. And we have preparing and organizing couple of tournaments also to recognize and identify potential boxers towards this direction.
Okay.
And I believe that it will be a great success in our direction.
Do you know the exact venue where the boxing matches will take place for the next SEA Games in Singapore?
Yeah, the venue will be at the Singapore Expo.
That's where I think all the sports related to fighting, contact sports. Yeah. Okay. Let's now say hello to our national athletes. First off, in Ridwan Ahmad, how has 2014 been looking for you so far, man?
Hi Raj. 2014 has been really busy. So I've been in local and overseas competitions, and boxing is not something you do part time. So the trainings have taken almost all of my time, training 2 or 3 times a day. And we just gone through the halfway mark of 2014, and I foresee that we're just going to get more busy from now, and it's going to be fun, I guess.
And like you said, it's a full-time thing for you. So, and I understand you are a co-owner of your own gym. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. I do have a gym. I just started it sometime this year. So that's a new challenge also. So I'm juggling work, training, and life. So it's a bit crazy sometimes, but I guess it comes with the territory. So
what's the name of the gym and where is it?
It's called Legends Fight Sport. It's located at Clarke Quay.
So is it a gym that focuses on training boxers, or is it for everybody to just, like any other gym, they can come and work out?
Basically, we do boxing training. So I try to support the sport by not just focusing on those who are interested to compete, but those who just want to do it for fitness. And I try my best to create awareness among the community that boxing is a safe sport. And actually, we have a lot of male and female. Actually, we have 40% of the members are females, actually.
Okay.
So the interest is there. So we're trying to do more events and try to work with the NSA to see how we can work together and make boxing a more popular sport.
Our next boxer in the studio is 21-year-old Mohammad Hanuddin Hamid. He was a pretty shy fellow when I interviewed him 3 years ago in Palembang at the SEA Games. Let's see if he's become bold enough to tell me. Hanuddin, what is your target for yourself at the SEA Games in 11 months' time in front of the Singapore crowd?
This SEA Games is really important to me. I've been through this situation. I boxed in Youth Olympic Games, and I know what it feels like to box in front of home crowd. And definitely, I'm not going to let my opportunity slip by. And my target for these games is really outdo my performance. I can't promise anything, but I just want to perform to my best. Be in my best shape, in top form.
Coach Bala, the shyness has gone from 3 years ago.
I'm shocked and surprised.
So, well spoken. Hanuddin, what have you been doing in 2014 so far in terms of competing locally or maybe even overseas?
We have few tournaments locally and internationally. The last one I went to was in Sri Lanka, the first Lions Cup. And I competed in a national tournament. And to get more exposure, I use my own savings and all and go overseas just for training. I recently been to Thailand for training. I just get myself more exposure. And yeah, so far that's what's happening.
Okay, let's catch up with Leona Hui. She is part of the national setup. She's looking to qualify to represent Singapore at the SEA Games. Leona, which weight division are you hoping to compete in?
Hi, Raj. Well, I'm actually going to be fighting the 48 kg weight division, so that's it.
Okay, and maybe you can take us. You can tell us what compelled you to even take up boxing. You're now at the age of. You're in your late 20s, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So when did you actually take up the sport?
It was funny because I actually met Coach Bala back in 2010 during the SYOG because I'm actually working in events management. So we were managing one of the related events for SYOG. And then back at that time, the association was conducting sports demos and tryouts.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like hovering around the area, looking, at all the different sports. And then Coach Bala goes, hey girl, come over here. I put on a pair of gloves and just try. So he let me do some pad work and hit the punching bag. So I think something just
clicked.
Something just clicked, and then the magic just began from there.
Coach Bala, what did you see in her 4 years ago that just compelled you to say, come girl, put on this pair of gloves and let's see what you got?
First thing, appearance. She have a fire in her look.
Okay.
And she was watching very seriously of what demo we are doing. We're giving the pad work and things like this. And then that is what triggers me to invite her and try it on her on the pad work. And she has natural abilities on punching and all. So I invited her. Within 3 days, she was there in my gym.
Nice. That's a really good story. Leona, in this time of training, since you picked up the sport, have you sort of sustained any major injuries?
No, actually, because I think contrary to popular misconception, boxing is a pretty safe sport. So when we're fully padded up, we wear gloves, we have headgear. So I think people just get the misconception about it being really dangerous with blood. It's actually not the case at all.
Okay. Yeah. You're listening to SportsZone on 938 Live, and today we turn the spotlight on the sport of boxing in Singapore. Joining us on the panel of guests is the president of Singapore's Amateur Boxing Association, Mr. Syed Kadir. He's joined by the association's vice president, T. Balasundram, and they brought along 3 national boxers in Muhammad Hanuddin Hamid, Leona Hui, and Ridwan Ahmad. We've just heard the opening remarks, statements, and updates from all 5 of our guests. Mr. Syed, how many boxers are you intending to field at the SEA Games for Singapore in 2015?
Of course, as a host, I would like to fill in all participants. Yeah.
So how many classes is that?
We have recommended 11 weight categories, 4 for women, 7 for men. However, for men, each NOCs can only submit 6 boxers from the 7 categories. So it will be 10. Yeah. For the women, it's all 4. So each nation can send all for the women, 4 boxers. So it's 10 from each NOCs. Okay. However, the total gold medals at stake are 11.
Okay. When you say you got 7 for the men and 4 for the women, at this point in time, do you have all of the 11 classes?
Yes, I'm proud to say we have. We have, of course.
Shortlisted.
They are shortlisted, but they're good enough.
Okay. Ridwan, so that means you're not holding any trials at the grassroots level to search for even more?
We try to, but you can't get offhand talent, You can't get, because boxing is not an easy sport. You need to have years of exposures, years of training, and years of hard work. You cannot get 6 months boxer to compete in the SEA Games. So that's it. We have shortlisted few, but if we have any extremely talented one, of course, why not?
So how do they contact the association?
They can always contact the association, and then we can look into it.
Okay. Ridwan, how important is the impact of the crowd, especially with a Singapore crowd behind you next year? I mean, is it more pressurizing or more of an inspiration?
In terms of competing, I've been competing for 8 to 9 years, and I would say this is almost the first time that I'm fighting in front of a home crowd. So I'm so used to being against a hostile crowd, and when I say hostile, they are like really crazy. It's like you won't even hear your corner, and even though the punches don't hit, they will just like shout, and they're just fanatic. So I guess the crowd will be fun and be exciting. I don't think it'll be pressure. It'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
I saw you compete in Palembang in 2011 at the SEA Games. Last year you also competed in Myanmar. You came back with a medal. What is the experience that you can draw from these last 2 outings at the SEA Games as you prepare for the next one?
The experience will be, I would say, it really doesn't matter about what's going on outside of the ring. They could have the crowd behind them, the whole country, whatever. But it all comes down to what kind of faith you have in yourself. And when I go and step inside the ring, I always have a purpose. I want to bring Singapore boxing to another level. And no matter Singapore is so far away, I bring Singapore with me together into the ring. So it really is up to you.
Okay. Before we hear from Coach Bala, Hanuddin, what about yourself? Do you thrive on the home crowd support, or would you prefer to block the crowd from your mind during the fight altogether?
During the Youth Olympic Games, when I boxed, I really felt I didn't like the home ground support because I really felt very pressurized. The media, the press, and everybody was looking at me. It was like played affecting me mentally. But now 4 years pass, and I think I prefer my home ground support. I know how to handle the situation, and I think it will just definitely be a boost for me, and it's a plus point for me.
Leona, you just heard from your two fellow teammates. What about yourself in terms of the mental aptitude to perform in the ring and then to deal with the crowd as well, the expectations?
I think, because next year SEA Games will be the first time we're actually thinking of fielding female boxers, so that's something quite exciting for all of us. But in terms of handling the crowd, I think like what Ridwan said, you try to block everything out and just focus on your opponent and yourself. And so far, even in the local competitions, even when there's lots of shouting going on, you just try to think about what's going on in the ring. And focus on what's ahead of you instead of everything else.
Coach Bala, we have about 2 minutes to the news. Maybe you can tell us what is it that the regional powerhouses are doing that has made them such kingpins of the sport. The boxers in maybe from Thailand to the Filipinos and the Indonesians. These three countries, they have really good fighters. What is it that they are doing that we are unable or have not been doing as yet?
Okay, what we need is we have to focus now on more training and to compete with them. We have to do a lot of full-time training. And boxing, as you know, is not an easy sport. It's a lot of endurance. You must manage the pain, and of course that the pain is the gain. And of course you want to win, and that is the challenge, and it's a very tough sport. What we are looking forward is full-time training, and that will make them a good success towards the achievement. And also my personal experience, our boxers are right now part-time, sometimes no time, but if they are given the full-time, just imagine how far they can go. And our boxers are truly very promising boxers. Like Ridwan, I've seen him for about almost 9 years, and it's a fire inside him. And I even brought him to Pakistan and all. He brought a bronze, and he fought with a Oman boxer, and the fight was stopped because he did an injury to his
suffered a cut. Okay.
So people like Ridwan, Anuruddin, a couple of good boxers out there, and of course we have also a good president who is supporting and is really working hard, Mr. Syed Kadir. And I think we can go far with the support of
the Singaporeans and
support us.
Okay, that's all the time we have in part one of SportsZone on this boxing edition. It's time for the news headlines, and when we return, we'll continue to talk more about boxing. So stay tuned right here on SportsZone on 938 Live.
Hi Singapore, this is Richie McCaw, captain of the New Zealand All Blacks, and you're mauling with the best in sports on 938 Live.
You're listening to SportsZone on 938 Live. I'm Raj Kumar, and today we turn the focus on the sport of boxing in Singapore. Joining us on the panel of guests is the president of Singapore's Amateur Boxing Association, Mr. Syed Kadir. He's joined by the association's vice president, T. Balasundram, and they brought along three national boxers in Mohammad Hanuddin Hamid, Leona Hui, and Ridwan Ahmad. Now, in the first part of the show, we discussed about their plans for the SEA Games, which is in 11 months' time on our very shores. And in this half of the show, we'll touch on youth development, the sport at the community level, the appeal of boxing in Singapore, and training facilities. And before I start with our coach Bala, Leona Hui, let me just ask you one question. It's not easy being a female boxer, because many would think you're a tomboy, or boxing is certainly not a sport for women. So how have you been able to deal and overcome these stereotypical views?
Raj, actually, I think as what Ridwan has mentioned just now is in his gym there's like 40% females already, and I think possibly over the last few years the perception has changed. How boxing is included in the Olympics now and the Commonwealth Games. So I think when my friends see me box and all that, it's not like oh man, you're a tomboy, and it's more of a newfound respect, possibly.
No, it's more common at the international level,
yes,
Europe, North America, South America, but in Asia, it's growing. I mean, the respect, like you said, is growing. So let's start with that. Coach Bala, is the sport of boxing losing its appeal to other new sports like maybe parkour, mixed martial arts, Muay Thai, kickboxing, for example?
No, never. To my understanding, boxing is always a never die sport, and of course, as you know, boxing is a core sport of Olympic. And to my experience, I'm also coaching some other clubs on the mixed martial arts interest club and all. They are emphasizing and showing more interest on the boxing skill. So boxing skill is a key important for any martial arts interest, and boxing will never die to this experience. I feel, and it remain strong interest.
It is still the sport of kings.
Yes, you can say one more time.
Boxing is still a sport of kings. You're a coach with your private club, with your own private club of amateur boxers. Has that been a profitable venture or for you, or are you operating the club more of a voluntary basis and out of passion?
Okay, there was a time there were a lot of other organizations were supporting boxing before, but then there's no more. But that's the reason I feel that what I feel that we must have our own club to draw or to identify and to build up more boxers. So that's the reason I also started boxing
your own
club of my own. And of course, the one who lead us and show us the direction was Mr. Said Kadir, was the one who first started KBS Boxing Club, and he was the one who was a direction to us. And we started, like now you just heard that Ridwan has started, that we have started, we have couple of private clubs. That's where we have drawn these boxers right now you are talking to them. So that is the interest, and I can say it's because voluntarily and to draw more boxers.
Okay, Ridwan, like he said, is it? I mean, you've got your own gym now. You are in your late 20s. Do you see most of your peers taking up other sports, perhaps thinking that boxing is dangerous?
I would say most of my friends, they do take other sports, but it's not because boxing is dangerous. It's because boxing is difficult. It takes a lot of their time. It takes a lot of dedication, sacrifice, and I guess after a while, not everybody can put in the necessary hard work. So they have to balance their time with other commitments, and basically that's the reason. It's not because of boxing being dangerous. Okay,
Leona, has it been difficult to get your own female buddies to take up the sport?
Surprisingly, no, actually, because besides boxing as a combat sport, you also have a boxing fitness, and they've actually spoken to me and said, it's actually really fun. To get fit, number one, and number two, just put on a pair of gloves and punch a punching bag and do some pad work. So boxing is a great sport to get into shape, and I think that's what most girls want anyway. At the end of the day, when they join a sport, so it's been fun for them. But in terms of combat sport, maybe not so much, just because, like what Ridwan said, it's a sport that takes up a lot of your time, dedication, week in, week out, day in, day out, you have to train in order to be at the competitive level.
Hanuddin, in your opinion, we've seen mixed martial arts, it's growing, it's rapidly growing in the Lion City. Do you think, which is more dangerous, boxing or mixed martial arts?
Honestly speaking, I can't say which is more dangerous. Every sport has its pros and cons. and I don't really know martial arts that well, but mixed martial arts that well. But to me, boxing is really a safe sport. You know, the referees are always there to protect you. You know, when you're injured, you know, they're always there to protect you, and the coaches have the knowledge. You know, they know the right thing to do when you're injured. You know, so boxing is totally safe.
Okay. Mr. Syed Kadir, let's talk about youth development. Perhaps you can tell us how or what is the NSA doing at the moment to groom new boxers, maybe in schools or at the tertiary level?
Oh, well, for schools, it's a little bit difficult because, you know, it's a misconception of the sports, you know.
The safety concern.
Safety concern. However, in the tertiary, I think the NUS has started their own boxing clubs, and they had a dual meet early in the year, this year, between the senior ITE and NUS Boxing Club. So it's a good sign, you know, the tertiary is taking up. But for school, Sabah is going to introduce, probably next year after the SEA Games, we are in the pipeline to do this non-contact boxing.
Okay.
Training is the same.
Yeah.
Right? And it's good for the obese, you know, for boxing training. It's from head to toe kind of training. So it's we do the aerobic and anaerobic energy system training. So it's good for the school boys.
What is
non-contact means no sparring. Just like rugby, they have touch rugby.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
They don't tackle, you know, these are the things but they learn the basic boxing skills which will help them. So from there, maybe we can churn out to develop into competitive young boxers, because in Europe they have schoolboys boxing competition, you know, European group, and Asia maybe they're going to start. So it's time that we also start, you know.
What is your current at the age group level? What is the youngest that?
Youngest, I think for us, is this Asia side, our side here, because we measured a bit. Later. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, probably I would suggest the age of from 10 onwards. It's good to start.
Okay.
You know, for the school boys, and we are, I think, very seriously on this, you know, for the youth, and we have to develop a lot of coaches, qualified coaches. We have our syllabus, and from there we have coaches to really know how to handle kids. It's very important.
Speaking of one of the coaches, Bala, how about the sports profile at the community level? Does Sabah organize periodic exhibition bouts, in the public, for the public to come and watch? And so that they can support their family members or their loved ones who are competing?
Well, we have done couple of competitions in some community centers, and even in 2009 we did a very successful competition at this Musling, and the guest of honor was Dr. Go Punwan, and he in fact supported our boxing, and there was about 300 plus spectators were there, and it was a very cheerful and
it was, because I was there. It was just under 2 blocks away.
Good, yeah.
It was interesting to see that the NSA came down and did I think this was a trial for the AYG or the YG, if I'm not mistaken. And it was on a Sunday morning, and it was packed. You know, the void deck or it was packed, and it was very interesting. I think it was they did four events for that 1 year to bring the sport of boxing to the public.
Like that. We have also done in Ken Hill Community Center with guest of honor was Miss Indrani. And that also was about 300 or 400. The crowd was quite a big crowd, and I noticed it was very supporting by the public.
Yeah,
and
people like contact sport, like to watch and
enjoy.
Yeah,
and like I say again, boxing will never die. And I noticed a lot of students are enrolling in the boxing interest, even into my club and all the clubs.
Yeah.
In fact, Ridwan have just started. I think he have couple of about 40-50 students. I just believe, and that shows boxing is
the interest is very much alive.
Alive.
Mr. Syed, are there enough of boxing rings or gyms in Singapore? I mean, yeah, we've heard Coach Bala, Ridwan. Maybe you can tell us what is for a country like Singapore, what is a good number to have?
Well, I would say, I don't think there's any magic numbers. There's a lot of mixed martial arts gyms.
Okay.
They have their own, boxing rings, because they have also boxing training, Muay Thai. They need ring. So I think at the moment it's sufficient. It's sufficient.
Okay. Ridwan, do you feel you've received enough of support from the Sports Council over the years? I mean, or do you feel there's more that boxing should receive?
Right now I'm a cadet athlete, so I do get the some kind of support like medical, sports massage, monetary. I have like monthly allowance. But if there's any way we can further better the full-time training, then I will welcome that.
Okay. Coach Bala, briefly, maybe you can touch on what he said about full-time training, because you and I have had this discussion before on another program. What if we had a full-time training program for one or two of our boxers? Will they be able to take it to the next level, win medals at the SEA Games, possibly even go on to the Asian Games and win?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said earlier, our boxers are right now part-time, sometimes no time, right? But if they're given the time to train full-time, so can you imagine how far they can go? And to my experience, boxing, you have to do full-time training, because morning they have to train and they have to control their diet properly, nutrition, and they also must be proper health care, and they must look after them well. They must have good rest, and then they must continue training in the afternoon. And of course, boxing is a very tough sport.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of endurance is involved in this boxing sport.
Okay.
So it has to be a full time.
We'll pause for a moment. It's time now for an update from Traffic Watch. But when we return on SportsZone, we'll talk more about Singapore boxing. So time now for Traffic Watch.
Hi, Singapore. This is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You're jamming with the best in sports on 938 Live.
Welcome back to the final stretch of SportsZone. I'm the RAJMAN, and we are talking to the guys from the Singapore Amateur Boxing Association. We left off with Coach Bala because he was talking about how important it is to receive full-time support for some of the boxers, and that could possibly take them to the next level. Maybe I can pose the same question to another rising boxer in the form of Hanuddin Hamid. Are you satisfied with the overall support from Sport SG, otherwise now formerly known as the Singapore Sports Council?
Right now I'm a cadet athlete as well, and I have some privileges, same as Ridwan. The medical is taken care, and sports massage, just little,
Okay.
When I went to Thailand, for training,
yes,
then when I see the support they receive, they have a training camp just for boxing. They have a training camp. The food is taken care of. They have accommodation, and they get paid for training. And if we compare Singapore to Thailand, is really that's the reason why Thailand produce results. Everything is taken care of, and if the same treatment is given to us, and I believe that we can produce the same result as well.
Leona, you're presently into events management. Boxing is a part-time thing. You're looking to qualify to represent the country in the SEA Games and maybe beyond. What sort of support would you prefer if you were to consider going full-time?
I think firstly because for us, because work, we need to earn our keep and all that. So obviously going full-time into boxing, financially we have to be taken care of, and but on top of that, of course, comes the training opportunities, like what Hanu mentioned, the food, the nutrition, the diets that you have to stick to, training camps, and just basically going like 100% full on into boxing as compared to, sometimes we work till like maybe in the evening 7 p.m. and then we have to go down to training, and then we only get like maybe a good 2 hours in, and then we go back home, prepare for work the next day. So there's sort of a juggling of many different things at once. Sometimes kind of puts you out of the zone in that sense.
So what about a boxing career in itself? What can you consider doing in order for you to make ends meet? Okay, maybe post-boxing, post-career.
Post-boxing.
Yeah.
Hopefully the end goal for me is to actually introduce the sport and to more girls, number one, because I think that this is something that Singapore can definitely work on, because I think there are a lot of girls out there who can definitely do this, but they just don't really know much about the sport yet, or they have a misconception about it, for example. So if I could perhaps go into like Ridwan, eventually maybe starting up my own gym, but for girls, that would be something great.
Coach Bala, let's bring it back to the community and the public. Is there an event that's maybe happening in the next 5 months that the public can actually come down and watch our young boxers to compete? Or maybe Mr. Kari, you'd like to...
Yeah, the next one for local competition, we have our quarterly competition locally. It's in end of the month, 30th August. We try to host it in one of the Sports Singapore's Sports Hall.
Okay.
It is on the 30th. And then we have already planned for dual meet. The men, hopefully with Malaysian side. And for women, probably we'll invite the Australian counterparts to give the women boxers some competition.
The one that you said is taking place at the end of the month, that's going to... What kind of level of boxers are we going to...
Well, we are pairing each boxers from all weight divisions. We try to organize probably 17 bouts for men and female also. So we have to give them competitive exposures, even for the new ones. The new talents also, we bring them in. And then for the November is the dual meet. And January most probably we already line up a 4 teams competition in January.
Okay.
And so on. We'll have few more after that.
Okay. Having competed at the Olympic Games, the only Singaporean to have competed in boxing at the Olympics, you of course was represented us in 1972 in Munich. Are you hoping to one day send another boxer to compete in the Olympics, maybe 2016 or if not 2020?
That has been my dream and goal, to have at least one since I started coaching since 1976. That was my goal. I will not retire until one of our guys compete in the Olympic Games. I lost a chance. I was unlucky enough to miss the medal in the Olympic Games, Munich especially. Well, I hope one of them.
So you will not retire?
I will not retire until one.
Okay.
Any of them. And I will not name anybody, but there's few coming up, youngsters, maybe not 2016, 2020 or even 2024 beyond.
Okay.
Hopefully I'm still alive.
long way to go, Mr. Syed. Does the NSA have a few objectives already planned out which you need to achieve within the next 3 or 5 years?
Well, boxing has been ongoing. We have our natural squad, and then there's always we increase the numbers. And we have given opportunities to everyone who can box, not just those who want to take up boxing. Those who can prove they can box. We send them opportunities to all over for competition, and it has been going on. Hopefully, with this in mind, next year's SEA Games, I really, it's my dream to have somebody to win at least one, to win a medal. It's in the finals. That's what we all are hoping for. Then beyond that, by 2017 or 2019, definitely we'll have more good boxers.
Hanuddin Hamid, how far or how long do you see your boxing career going on for?
Now the boxing age limit is they increase it to 40. The maximum you can compete. After 40 you can't compete. So my goal in boxing is always to beat my coach, one of my president's record. He's been holding the record for so long. I don't want him to hold for so long.
Which record is that?
He's the last Olympian, boxing Olympian.
Yeah.
So I want to beat his record.
He's the only Olympian, if I'm not mistaken.
Only boxing
Olympian. Yeah.
Yeah. And 1972 was
Yeah.
the last one. So I want to be the one who beat his record.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a really fantastic dream. Leona, similar question to you. How long more do you see yourself one day, or do you see yourself going into coaching?
Well, hopefully I can take back boxing like all the way, like what Hanu said, until the age of 40.
Yeah.
But I think personally, my goal would just be to win a medal for Singapore, because it's been my dream to represent Singapore since the first day.
Awesome. Ridwan, what's your final goal before hanging up your gloves?
Honestly, I've never prepared myself to quit, so I really don't know. I would trust my coach and the people who I trust to tell me if it's enough. But realistic goal is I want to get a SEA Games gold medal, and if I can make my coach retire by going to the Olympics, why not?
Okay. On that note, we've come to the end of this special edition of Sports Zone. A big thank you to our panel of guests. In the president of Singapore's Amateur Boxing Association, Mr. Sai Kadir. He was joined by the association's vice president, T. Balasundram. They brought along 3 national boxers in Mohammad Hanuddin Hamid, Leonor Hui, and Ridwan Ahmad. And our best wishes to the boxing team for the rest of 2014, and of course the SEA Games next June. Okay then, till next week. Next week, Sports Zone takes a break for National Day, so happy holidays everyone, and we'll see you again for the Premier League season preview show in 2 weeks. Till then, I'm the RAJMAN. Take care and bye for now.